You know who would have benefited from therapy? The Spy Kids. I mean, having the fate of the world on your shoulders before high school is a lot. Did you know that right now, 37% of Gen Z still think going to therapy means you're mentally weak? That's why BetterHelp is sponsoring this video for Mental Health Awareness Month, because that stigma needs to go. You don't need a breakdown or an inciting incident to talk to someone. Therapy gives you space to vent, ask questions, and get the right tools to handle life. BetterHelp makes doing all of that easier than ever. No waiting rooms, no awkward small talk. You can talk to your therapist by phone, video, or message, and if it's not the right fit, you can switch therapists anytime at no extra cost. If you've ever felt like you were just supposed to deal with whatever life is throwing at you, maybe it's time to try something different. Head to betterhelp.com/CinemaSins and get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/CinemaSins. "30 seconds of 3 logos.
Everything okay at school?
Yeah, it's good. It's fine.
Lying, but being really bad at it.
Bedtime story first.
What preteen is begging their mom for a story before bedtime outside of this movie? Isn't it usually, oh, get out already, goodbye? I submit that this kid in the background no longer needs a stool in order to reach the sink.
Her mission was to take him out.
On a date?
If Carmen has heard this story many times, why is she shocked to learn what her mother actually means by take him out? Also, why in the is Ingrid telling her children a story involving her being hired to assassinate their father? She could have just made it about her being hired to take him out on a date, but maybe that just makes it sound like she's an escort. You know what? Ingrid shouldn't be telling the story in any form to her children.
Out of fear, a new kind of soldier was created.
The movie suggests there are soldiers in history that were created for any reason other than fear. Somehow Carla Gugino looks more conspicuous here than she does in Snake Eyes. Somehow Antonio Banderas looks more conspicuous here than he does in Puss in Boots.
They were masters of disguise.
Maybe, but in this particular instance, all she did was rapidly change her wig from blonde to black. That doesn't exactly scream master of disguise, if you ask me. But how is being able to detect the traces of her trick gum going to help Ingrid when Gregorio gets in a car or on a plane? He just reached inside her jacket, shirt, whatever, because he somehow knew she had a picture of him there. And it's worth breaking this down because, sure, he might know she's following him. That might lead him to believe she has a picture of him on her person. So a good spy wouldn't need to keep a picture after looking at it, if you ask me. But to also assume the picture is next to her breast and then to actually reach in there and grab it? That's going too far. Even if he knew where and what it was, he wouldn't do this. Or I should say he shouldn't do this. Tell you what, walk up to a woman tomorrow and reach inside her bra and see if she's stashed anything in there and see how that goes for you. Please don't do this.
So they kept contact. A few lunch dates. Very discreet.
But somehow didn't face any kind of disciplinary action by their governments for not completing their assignments to kill each other because loathe. This motherfucker flicked an engagement ring along the edge of one of the Eiffel Tower's uppermost guardrails and it got to her just fine. This is the kind of shit you expect to see in one of the Paddington movies, not a movie about... Wait, what is the title of this movie again? Spy Kids! Jesus fucking hell. Everyone knows if you want to kill 2 people, you should attack with 75 helicopters. Yeah, to hell with all the wedding guests, some of which I assume are 100% innocent bystanders. Just make sure you save yourselves, Gregorio and Ingrid. Nothing says we're the newlywed spy couple year after like a couple of red heart-shaped parachutes. But also, they jump off a cliff and deploy heart parachutes with 50 helicopters circling overhead and God knows how many agents up on top of the cliff. And when they settle into a speedboat, the movie acts like they have now completely gotten away while I'm back here screaming, nope, not at all, movie. All them helicopters are still on your ass and these 2 are caught. End of movie. Fuck you in the face. Junie's face survives this. Who the hell is she? Spider-Woman? Attempted murder. Gregorio deduces that Donegan has been turned into a Foogly by simply comparing the picture to what he is seeing on the TV screen, and it's all the bullshit. Junie will now be sad his father didn't stand up to the bully's father, even though the bully's father is Jack Reacher-sized and Junie's father is Antonio Banderas-sized, and maybe if Junie loved his father, he'd see this non-fight as a win for the family.
I shouldn't be responsible for anybody but me.
Damn, Junie is in the right place to hear everyone in his family shit on him this morning. That's convenient.
What the devil are these, fingerprints?
Those things are fucking real?
Sometimes, in order to think big, you have to think small.
Listen, I know it. You're preaching to the choir here, buddy. It's my college girlfriend who had trouble with the concept.
All rolled into tiny packages I call Spy Kids.
Roll credits. I'm honestly surprised it took this long in a movie this goofy.
We'll be back in 2 days to pick up our army.
Given what you've seen today, though, is that even a good use of your time? Or gasoline? You know they're not going to be ready, right?
You're going where?
On assignment.
Coming out of retirement without previously mentioning it to your wife.
What about the children?
You mean all the children watching this movie currently? Yeah, I'm wondering about how they're handling this adult seduction scene myself.
I'm not your uncle.
Because if I was your uncle, this mustache would be real, of course. Only real uncles have real mustaches, you stupid f***ing children.
Find the OSS. Tell them the third brain lives.
What guarantee does he have that the kids that definitely climbed into the ship and activated the two-way video? Why did Felix even have to go back into the house?
What are those things?
They're the thumbbots, obviously, but they look enough like regular soldiers with masks on. I don't know why Junie keeps yelling, "What are those things?"
Junie, what are you doing down there?
Defying the laws of physics, clearly. This must be the most convenient, unexpected, and nonsensical tunnel under a tiny island I've ever seen.
And do exactly as I say. Okay.
He will not.
Now flushing your poop.
Hey, Alexa, stop monitoring my bowel movements.
Ingrid and Gregorio Cortez are the only agents I know of that never had a weakness.
So was the sole reason for capturing the other agents to get Ingrid and Gregorio out of retirement? Why wouldn't Minion just have them kidnapped prior to the other agents? Considering Floop's deadline on getting the kid assassins ready, this would have been a much quicker solution.
Carmen Elizabeth Juanita Ecosca Brava Cortez.
In the middle of her name, she has Echo Sky Brava, and she never wondered if her parents had a spy or military background. Her name might as well be Carmen Elizabeth James Bond Charlie Tango Foxtrot Cortez.
How safe's a safe house? There's nothing to eat.
Carmen Elizabeth James Bond Charlie Tango Foxtrot Cortez would be excellent at CinemaSins. Just what the f*** happened there? Magic?
From every country.
Shit. Her private school education is failing her if she thinks there are only 10 countries in the world.
They still wear diapers.
Only one is in diapers and only at night. It's not that unusual, okay?
It is. If this was a glass floor, then how are all these pieces of the top-level flooring falling beneath the glass?
Where are we?
Looks like a room full of CGI from the early aughts.
And my fingers snap you.
They are thumbs. Thumbbots. Get it right. This is like calling a whale a fish.
A compendium of spy knowledge, if you will.
I will not. I feel like this entire humans turning into Fooglies plotline was all something conjured up in 1981 from one of Cheech Marin's nice dreams. I love a good gear-up scene as much as the next person, but usually it's people who have been through some shit and have earned a gear-up montage. Here, it's just two kids who 4 hours ago didn't even know their parents were spies, and now they're putting all this gear on like seasoned veterans.
How to be a spy. Author unknown.
Reading.
Good spy has no fear.
That is the opposite of true. A good spy is actually scared all the f***ing time, because if they miss a single detail, they might be caught or killed. Comedy.
F-L-O-O-P.
Movie briefly turns into a spelling bee.
And you know that cute little tuneless song the characters sing? Play it backwards.
We're trapped! Floop is a madman! Help us! Save us!
How would Floop or Minion not have caught this? Why would they let the Fooglies write their own song for the TV show? Also, if you play the Floop show backwards, it says Yvonne Netnyage.
You have just joined the ranks of women spies in the OSS.
No, Carmen, run! Activating super spy by accident.
Bad hair day!
Comedy. Out of all the billboards Carmen could have thrown Gradenko's lackey through, it's one promoting Floop's Fooglies, because this movie is comfortably dumb. For someone who flew off screaming, "How do you work these things?" she sure learned how to operate it expertly in a very short amount of time.
What would you do without me?
I'm gonna guess he would luck into all the correct decisions like he has been for the past 42 minutes. Stealing.
If you want to find a child, send a child.
That makes no sense. Also, these are robot children assassins, not actual children. Honestly, not sure why one would have to overthink who to send to find Carmen and Junie, because they are not even trying to blend in. Carmen allowed Junie to hold on to the vital piece of equipment that might save their parents from impending doom.
Thought I ditched you. Why are you dressed like a geek?
Why does Carmen not realize the impossibility that Junie had changed that quickly since she just walked away from him less than 5 seconds ago?
You're just getting stupider by the minute.
Says the sibling that didn't realize she was wearing a f***ing tracker bracelet. Carmen will not have to sit out part of this mission for the mandatory concussion protocol time. Kids.
Limited edition Spy Kid. One of 500.
Tagging your robot assassins like they are collectible toys. Floop even put his goddamn company name on there. None of the scientists in this building were smart enough to tell apart the remnants of a third brain from the remnants of what appears to be a walnut.
What are we doing here?
My guess is participating in the movie equivalent of a backdoor pilot, and I do not like it.
Gregorio Cortez is my younger brother.
Also, I have a bowl of fingers on the counter in front of you that I'm hoping you'll overlook for now.
I don't believe in this anymore, Minion.
Awesome, let's go! Roll them credits and get me out of here.
I now have the third brain. I don't need you anymore.
Character takes off prescription glasses to show they mean business cliche.
Machete's not responsible for nobody but Machete.
Third person talking in the third person is never not annoying for everyone but the third person.
Cain and Abel were brothers. Look how they ended up.
Are we forgetting entirely about Seth? Carmen acted like they had to get to Floop's castle immediately to save their parents, but apparently they still had time for a sit-down dinner.
Now we're talking.
She says this while opening a drawer with a nitrox rebreather, which isn't a thing and which she cannot possibly instantly recognize and understand. Hey look, it's a lightsaber the size of Kid Rock's dick. How do these two kids who just found out their parents were secret agents less than 24 hours ago know how to work all this shit in Machete's shop? This line of third brains is alarming, to be sure, but it represents an upscaling in production that is entirely impossible, mathematically speaking.
We get to the castle, rescue Mom and Dad, then somehow stop Floop from using the brain on the robots before they're sent out to dominate the world. Think we can do that? How hard could it be?
Really f***ing hard, actually.
Autopilot failing! Oh great, another fine Machete product.
Carmen hasn't known Machete long enough to have a running thought process about the inferiority of his products. Sharks don't sleep with their eyes closed, and they would never sleep floating still because their gills would close up and they would not be able to breathe.
A surveillance camera. I'm gonna distract it.
Thinking a surveillance camera could be distracted.
Don't pee. They'll change the water salinization and wake up all the sharks.
One tiny boy's pee in 1,000,000 gallons of water is going to change the salinization so much that all the sharks wake up.
Why aren't you watching the monitors?
How can the soldiers even see? They're all thumbs. That is a lot of robots, and it's the early aughts. The amount of human labor that would be needed to construct these things is massive, and people would talk.
What did you do to it? Machete's electroshock gumballs.
But how does the person chewing on the gumball not get electrocuted? Junie leaving microcameras everywhere goes on to inspire terrible Tom Hanks' Emma Watson film 16 years later. Carmen and Junie use the Wizard of Oz method of joining the line of evil hench people, only they don't even bother putting on the uniform of the hench people. Lazy. The fake false floor from before is now a real false floor for reasons.
I hope this leads to a dungeon.
He says about the room clearly labeled virtual room. Can Junie not read?
From sweaty hands sprout warts.
F you, asshole. Warts are caused by HPV. Don't be scarring kids of all ages that have sweaty palms. Why is Junie still carrying around the Floop action figure? Especially after learning that Floop is responsible for his parents being kidnapped. That's all kinds of f***ed up.
Alexander Minion.
Wait, his name is actually Minion? So he's a minion named Minion? To be fair, that is funnier than any joke in the Despicable Me and Minions movies.
Oh, and don't worry about your little brats. They'll still be able to see you every weekday morning between 7:30 and 8.
But if Minion is taking Floop out of the equation, how would there still be a show to watch every morning?
The fabulous Floop is away on other business.
These assholes want the child robot army so bad they just blow right past this super red flag. When you've gone this much bald, rocking the spotty, super long strands just makes you look desperate, like a man who has no hair on top, but every day combs the super long hair he's grown on the side of his head up over the top so as to make it look like he still has hair on the top of his head.
My show. What does it need? I know it needs something desperately.
Floop thinks the movie has time for this.
It needs children.
Junie's advice to Floop to improve his show is basically, you're ripping off Barney, but without the kids, so rip off Barney better. How did the electric gumball work in the dream? Wow, what do I care? Let's get this shit over with. The movie takes Junie's tendency to mimic his sister and makes it into his supernatural ability to mimic any voice around him, and it's annoying enough I'm adding 4 cents.
He gets that from his mother.
Where exactly did Ingrid just rise up from? Was she just crouching on the floor? How did Minion not see her and Gregorio when he entered the room? Why is the horrifically balding woman still dressing so sexily? Never mind, I answered my own question.
Oh shit. Taki mushrooms.
Son of a biscuit, Carmen. You can go to Helen's house with your safe curse word bullshit.
Poor little Junie, defenseless and weak.
Why would a robot clone even feel compelled to take the time to brag? Did Minion accidentally code his robot kids to care about their reputation? Man, he sure is lucky she lets go of him after this. Otherwise, he's shorted out like she is.
Instant cement.
Fucking silly string. I know they call it instant cement in the movie, and the movie goes along with it for 10 full seconds, but this is some hilarious-ass, budget-saving, cheap-ass bullshit right here. Silly string! Silly string! Tomorrow night, our lives will change. Tomorrow night, we'll be entertained.
Carmen, Judy, close your eyes. We don't want you to see this, okay?
They didn't seem too concerned about Carmen and Junie's potential trauma when they were going to mutate Minion right in front of them.
There's 500 total, Dad. We need one more person.
Deus ex machina. They're throwing several movie characters into the air to celebrate something. I'm so confused, I'm just gonna put 5 cents here to cover it all.
You know what? I don't remember that reason.
Neither do I.
Brothers.
You won today, Junie. And not because you were the biggest or the strongest.
I sleep now. Movie can continue without me.
There is something that we have to tell you.
Your father and I were secret agents.
Why do Ingrid and Gregorio think this is still a secret? What do they think Felix told them? Movie decided that the Thumbbots were worthy of continuing on, but only if the first family of spies have verbal control over them. And it feels like slavery, if you ask me.
An emergency assignment has come up in the Far East.
George Clooney is always going to be recognizable as George Clooney.
This assignment is for Carmen and Junie. They're the ones we need.
What possible assignment involving government security would be better handled by kids? I guess we'll have to wait for the sequel to find out. Wait, there are 4 more of these goddamn things? Holy shiitake!
2 + 2 is 4. 2 + 2 is 4.
Mom, can't you tell me I'm sick?
You're sick. That's why he's here.
Dearly beloved, I'm sorry I'm a little late.
Operation Big Concert, where we finally take things to the next level.
Hey, I think you want to hit the 2 errand, boss.
Agents Ingrid and Gregorio Cortez en route. We've got a follower.
There's always a bigger fish.
Fish are friends, not food.
Drive-by Miami style.
I think George Lucas gonna sue somebody.
What do you think you're gonna accomplish by doing this?
Here's what happened. I mean, here's what really happened.
What happened to your head?
That was a hell of a thing.
I owe my new look to your children.
Did they misbehave?